So recently in the news, the Biden administration has updated the Title IX regulations to include gender identity. If you're not familiar with Title IX, it's mainly offering protections based off of sex. What people most know it for is protection for women's sports, just giving an even playing field. What this update essentially does is it extends those protections to people who identify as a certain gender, even if that's not associated with their biological sex. So a lot of people have concerns that there's going to be men in women's sports. And I use the word women's, but really it extends down to girls, and concerns about allowing biological men into restrooms. So obviously parents have daughters, they have concerns about fairness there's going to be in sports for their kids growing up. We see the spiritual warfare aspect of this. The Bible verse that comes to mind in 1 Timothy 1:7, which says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but one of power and love and self-control. It can be very easy to have fear, to have anxiety, to not know how that's going to affect them. How can we best protect them? And my encouragement to you is to meditate on this verse in 1 Timothy and remember that the Spirit of God, the same Spirit that rose Christ from the dead, lives in you as a believer in Christ, and that is a spirit of power. He will give you the power, He will give you the grace to navigate through this issue, the power to have the courage to speak out where you need to speak out, the courage to train and disciple your children against these secular worldviews. Also, it's a spirit of love, and so you can show love towards your child in this. You can actually show love towards those who don't believe the same thing that you believe. So those who have gender dysphoria, and we can recognize that even though we don't agree with this, we don't even necessarily accept that this is a good policy, we can still treat those with gender dysphoria with love. And don't confuse treating those with dignity and love as accepting them into your home, accepting this ideology into your home. It's important to set boundaries. It's important to, with that spirit of power, because it's at first a spirit of power, of courage, to take a courageous stance, but also not compromise the love that we're called to as Christians. And then that kind of flows into it also being a spirit of self-control. And it's very easy, especially when you look at the political landscape, to get fired up on this issue and to go into panic mode and to really start to be an alarmist. But we speak truth in boldness and in love with a spirit of power and self-control. And that's my encouragement to you, especially for those who are going to be affected by this legislation change or this policy change. And don't do it alone. I hope you have a church family. I hope you have other Christians who can walk alongside you to navigate these difficult issues.